Hello everyone and welcome to the Snowball Orchard. My name is Snowball and this sort of channel is going to be all for talking about animated series, comics that I like, stuff like that with reactions, reviews, breakdowns, all that good stuff. I also plan on doing some comic dubs and some animations of my own in the future, and maybe also some music, if I actually ever get around to finishing some of my songs. But today, for the first video of the Snowball Orchard, we are going to be talking about one of my absolute favorite shows, Murder Drones. Before we start talking about Murder Drones, because I will start rambling, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and I would greatly appreciate it. And there's going to be all sorts of great content coming up soon. We're going to be doing Hell of a Boss reactions, going to be doing Amazing Digital Circus reactions, and also just talking about the pilot episode because I have already seen that one. But episode 2 is coming up very, very soon, so I'm going to be doing a reaction to that. Look forward to that. And with that out of the way, I will say, I will be talking about some spoilery stuff as I am going to be giving my brief rambling review of Murder Drones. So there will be spoilers and also content warnings. Murder Drones does have some horror. After the second episode, there's a little bit of blood here and there. So if those are things that don't sit well with you, I just want to give the content warning now. A link to the pilot episode will be in the description down below. I highly, highly, highly recommend checking it out if you haven't already. And with that out of the way, let's talk Murder Drones. Murder Drones is a 3D animated horror comedy created by Liam Vickers, and I think that's how you pronounce their name? I hope I got that right. And released by Glitch Productions. Currently there are 7 episodes with the season 1 finale in the works. I hope that there's going to be at least one more season because honestly it is so good and there's still so much mystery to unpack. This series takes place on a snowy exoplanet that was colonized by humans called Copper 9. They got blown up because Copper 9's core sort of half imploded. Yeah, things could be going better there. So now instead of humans, worker drones live there. The worker drones used to sort of, work for the humans, and now with no humans, they sort of have taken over as like the main quote-unquote life form of the planet. But the humans back home on Earth have sent disassembly drones to wipe out the worker drones, which is not good, obviously. So the worker drones now all live in sort of a colony base sort of thing, locked behind some doors. And the main protagonist, Uzi Dorman, is sort of fed up with just sort of, waiting behind the doors, and the disassembly drone, it's only a matter of time before the disassembly drones find a way in. Let's be honest, she knows this and she's the only one who seems to care. So she sets out to try and build a railgun and ends up in the process befriending a couple of the disassembly drones, N and V. And then she also blows up the other one, J. J keeps getting blown up and keeps coming back, which is really funny. I hope that she actually has like an important role in episode 8, because if she's just sort of there to keep getting blown up, I mean, it would be really funny, but also a little bit disappointing. So yeah, she gets really lucky with her first encounter with N, absolutely gets beat badly, but has a railgun, so she sort of buys herself some time to befriend N in a really interesting series of events. And we find out that N is actually just, despite being a genocidal killing machine, is actually just a really nice guy who has a very tragic backstory, in fact, that I'm not going to spoil really too much in this video because you watch it. It's super good. Uzi is as edgy and angsty as they come. N is so toxically positive and optimistic, it makes you want to throw up rainbows. And then V is well, yeah. V is maybe the character with the most satisfying character arc, at least in my opinion. She goes from, well, psychopath, killing machine, to having a couple interactions where she's almost acting like a big sister to Uzi and N, which is really interesting and honestly kind of sweet to see. The thing I think that sold me the most in the pilot episode, because I was sold in like the first 10 or 15 minutes. Shows normally don't sell me that fast. The thing that really grabbed my attention was N not really holding back all that much. He rolls up to the worker drone colony, gets through the doors that have been keeping the other disassembly drones out, and wipes out 4 of the people who were responsible for making the doors in the first place with ease and in devastating fashion. I feel like so often with characters who are sort of like a co-protagonist of the show or story or whatever, who are like super almost like, toxically positive and optimistic, they usually are sort of, I feel like, there for comic relief and don't get too much attention for, like, how powerful they can be. No, N starts the show by, well, being a murder drone. He wipes out some people with swords, with missile launchers, with a freaking photon laser or something like that. That is so cool that that super positive character is still capable of extraordinary power like that. You don't see that. That sold me in an instant. The interactions with N and Uzi towards the end of the first episode also. They're just such a great duo. Their personalities are so different and they mesh together so beautifully. It's so good to watch. I think another thing just that is so good about this show is the story, the mystery with the story, and how many tiny little details that weave together this beautiful tapestry of storytelling are sprinkled throughout the background. I mean, for crying out loud, the absolute solver symbol flashes over one of Uzi's eyes in the first episode for a few frames. I didn't notice that for the first, 5 or 10 times I watched that episode. I watched through the episode and then watched a lot of reactions. I'm a nerd. Hi. Yeah, I had never noticed that for a while until I saw someone online point out the solver symbol was indeed in the first episode, which is nuts. It's just the little things like that that are so brilliant. I do think that there is one area of the show's storytelling that really fell short in my book, and that is Doll's character arc. Doll is, much like Uzi, a sort of absolute solver host. She has this virus program thing within her that lets her effectively bend reality to her will within reason, but it's slowly consuming her, slowly taking her over, turning her into a mindless zombie that it can control. And she knows about the existence of the crucifix patch, which is a USB in a cross that was developed by the humans before they all got blown up by the planet imploding, that can sort of patch out the solver's control over the host. We see this with a character in episode 7, I'm not going to spoil who, that the patch was indeed a success, and that character still has her solver powers. Doll wanted it. She also wanted revenge on V for killing her parents, which is, come on, V. Every single time, though, Doll sets out to try and do something to effectively, it almost feels like in her mind, bring herself justice for what other people did to harm her. She always comes up short and ends up effectively getting eaten by the original Solver host in episode 7 after warning Uzi to fight back. It's a borderline poetic conclusion to her arc, but also at the same time a very dissatisfying one, because she sort of gets, well, obliterated by the Absolute Solver's original host, Sin, off screen. Why was she taken out off screen? With a character this cool, this interesting, and built up to be one of the most powerful drones on the planet, she really, in my opinion, should have made an epic final stand on screen. Having her taken out by the original Solver host is very poetic in my mind, and if they were going to kill her off, a pretty decent way to do it. But off screen, why? Yeah, I'm never gonna. I'm still salty about that. That is the one part of episode 7 I really did not like. All around, Murder Drones is a fantastic show. One of my favorites of all time. Over on my Tumblr account, link in the description, when I finished watching the first 7 episodes, I made sort of a review post. I've been doing that with series that I am getting into for the first time this year, and it's been a lot of fun. But I've been rating everything on a, 1 to 10 sort of scaling system. And I actually rated Murder Drones above a 10. I rated it a 10.7 out of 10 because, in my mind, with that scale, whenever I'm rating something, a 10 out of 10 is the show or story or whatever hit all of my expectations. Murder Drones exceeded all of my expectations. It's got really kind of corny, but also really funny comedy. So much. And the jokes aren't for everyone, but a ton of the jokes I really, really like. The storytelling is very, very mysterious and very cool. The characters are so, for me, they're so lovable. Like, so many of them are just so enjoyable to watch and to see the character interactions fold out and their funny banter and all of it. It is such a good show, and I could not recommend it enough. If you haven't seen it already, link to the pilot episode will be in the description. Go check it out if you haven't. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts on Murder Drones are if you have seen it already. I'd be really curious to hear your thoughts. And that is sort of my brief review talking about Murder Drones. I definitely plan on making videos talking more in depth about probably each individual episode and maybe each of the characters as well, because I want to make a lot of content on Murder Drones, as it is so much fun. I love watching the show so much. If that all sounds exciting, make sure to hit like and subscribe, turn the post notification bell on so you never miss one of my Murder Drones rambling videos, and it would really help the channel out, and I would greatly appreciate it. Let me know down in the comments any Murder Drones topics you would like to see me cover in a future video, or any series that, maybe you'd want to see me react to. I am going to be doing reactions to Hell of a Boss and The Amazing Digital Circus, so be on lookout for those as well. And yeah, I hope that you all enjoyed your visit to the Snowball Orchard today. I certainly had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too. And until next time, I will see you all later. Bye!